Mr. Shaw, are the rumors about you and that influencer true? Mr. Shaw, we heard you're getting a divorce. In the video, Johnny Shaw, the CEO of the Shaw Corporation, was cornered by a group of reporters at his company's entrance. He stared into one of the cameras and said nonchalantly, "Well, then my brother's getting a divorce too." The crowd erupted. What a way to change the subject. Meanwhile, Ryan, still working late at the hospital, was probably thinking, "My name is Winnie, and I married into the Shaw family along with my best friend, Diana. She married the younger brother, Johnny, the CEO. I married the older brother, Ryan, a senior surgeon at the Vision Center. 1 year later, my best friend wants a divorce, and she's not leaving without me." Diana and I were lying on a hotel bed, playing a game on our phones, when a news alert popped up on both our screens. Shaw Corporation CEO Johnny Shaw mobbed by media amid scandal and divorce rumors. I glanced at Diana and quickly tapped the video. "Mr. Shaw, can you confirm your relationship with that influencer?" "Mr. Shaw, we heard you're getting a divorce." In the video, Johnny was completely surrounded by reporters. "Mr. Shaw, sources claim you and Diana are separated. Is this true?" One reporter shouted, shoving his way to the front, his microphone practically hitting Johnny in the face. Johnny frowned, his eyes flashing with irritation. He stopped, shot a cold glare around the crowd, and finally fixed his gaze on one camera. "Well, then my brother's getting a divorce too," he said, looking like he couldn't care less. For a second, there was dead silence. Then, chaos. After a few seconds of stunned silence, the reporters surged forward, hurling questions at him like hailstones. "Mr. Shaw, what do you mean by that? Are you saying Dr. Shaw and Winnie are having problems too? Mr. Shaw, could you elaborate?" Johnny raised a hand, signaling for quiet. He leaned closer to the camera, his voice calm but laced with defiance. "It means exactly what it sounds like." And with that, he pushed through the crowd and strode into his office building. The audio from the video was grating. Diana angrily tossed her phone aside, where it landed on the bed with a dull thud. "I've had it." She shot up. "I want a divorce." "Do it." "I'm with you." I nodded, supporting her without a moment's hesitation. "What about you? Are you getting one?" I shrugged. "Whatever. I'll do whatever you do." It's not like Ryan and I had any real feelings for each other anyway. Ryan, still pulling a late shift at the hospital. Diana and Johnny had an arranged marriage for business purposes. There was no emotional foundation. She told me she was worried about being bullied by his family after she married him. At the time, I was 24, and everyone was calling me an old maid. My family was relentlessly pressuring me to get married. As it happened, 30-year-old Ryan was getting the same pressure from his family. Even though Ryan was 30, he kept himself in great shape. He had a chiseled face, stood at 6 feet 1 inch, and had broad shoulders with a narrow waist. As a sucker for a handsome face, I was more than satisfied. I wanted to be there for my best friend and get my family off my back. He just wanted to get his family off his back. We hit it off immediately and got engaged soon after. It was a mutually beneficial arrangement. Each of us got what we wanted. Some people who knew Diana and I were marrying into a wealthy family, and marrying brothers, no less, tried to warn me. They'd say things like, "You know how terrible it is when best friends become sisters-in-law," or, "Aren't you worried you'll become fake friends fighting over the inheritance?" Please. Someone's been watching too much reality TV. Stop giving the word best friend a bad name. By marrying into the Shaw family together, we figured at least we'd have each other's backs if one of us got picked on. If we ended up with horrible in-laws, we could at least gossip about them together. But who would have guessed? Our in-laws weren't horrible at all. In fact, they were incredibly kind to us. It was completely unexpected. It was the Shaw brothers who were the weirdos. They were both gorgeous, but for some reason, they both had this whole celibate vibe going on. After nearly a year of marriage, Diana and I were both stuck in totally sexless relationships. Ryan, especially. He wouldn't even sleep in the same bed as me. I mean, I'm a good-looking woman, great body, great personality. I had plenty of guys chasing me before I got married. But Ryan always acted like I was invisible. And he's a senior eye surgeon? I think he's the one who needs his eyes checked. Whatever. It's not like I was desperate. I could handle it. Diana, all fired up, dragged me back to the house she shared with Johnny and started packing. She called for a moving truck. I was shocked. I mean, she had a lot of stuff, but a whole truck? Just as I was wondering, Diana pulled out a document, a smirk playing on her lips. "This is the prenup Johnny signed," she said triumphantly. "If he cheats, he has to walk away with nothing. That's my girl. No room for love in her heart, only money." I took it and skimmed it. "Is this enforceable?" "Don't worry. Ryan signed the exact same one at the time, remember?" Diana reminded me. "You both got a copy. He has one, you have one." I frowned, confused. I didn't remember anything like that. Before I could think about it, Diana went back to her gleeful packing, her face lit up with the joy of her impending windfall. Just then, Johnny rushed home. "Diana, what are you doing?" He froze, staring at the messy room. "I'm divorcing you," Diana said coldly. Johnny's face went pale. "Are you serious?" Diana didn't want to waste another word on him. She grabbed her bag, pulled me toward the door, and then turned back to him. "And don't forget to tell your brother Winnie is divorcing him too." She waved the document in her hand. "I'll be back for the furniture later. I hope you're not going to be a sore loser about it." "What?" She was even taking the furniture? The woman doesn't miss a trick. Johnny just stood there, a complicated expression on his face as he watched us leave. Diana and I went back to my parents' house. We decided to tell them about the divorces. The atmosphere at the dinner table was as warm as ever. I started to say something several times but kept losing my nerve. After all, they'd really liked Ryan. Even though Ryan was cold to me, he was wonderful to my parents. He'd bring them gifts every so often and frequently came with me on visits home. Diana kept shooting me looks from the side. I took a deep breath and summoned my courage. "Dad, Mom, I'm getting a divorce." Instantly, the mood at the table froze. My parents were clearly stunned. "Winnie, you could have eased into it a little," Diana whispered. I guess I hadn't thought of that." "What did you say?" My mom asked, her eyes wide. "I think. No, I want a divorce." I squeezed my eyes shut, bracing for a lecture. After a long silence. "Winnie, if you're truly unhappy, we won't force you to stay," my dad said. "We were wrong to pressure you into getting married," my mom added. One after the other, they spoke, and neither of them blamed me. I breathed a sigh of relief. Just then, my dad suddenly stood up and went into his study. He came back a moment later holding a folder and handed it to me. "Ryan gave this to me back then." I took it. It was actually a prenuptial agreement. "He said it was to protect you. Your mother and I never looked at it, but since you're getting a divorce now, I hope it helps." My dad patted my shoulder gently. Looking at the document, a strange feeling washed over me. "You really didn't know about it?" Diana asked. I shook my head. She sighed. "Looks like Ryan. Winnie, you'd better think this through." The next morning, our mother-in-law summoned Diana and me to the family home. When we walked into the living room, Ryan and Johnny were already sitting there. Ryan shifted when he saw me, a complex emotion in his eyes, but I couldn't read his expression. He looked terrible, like he hadn't slept all night. Our mother-in-law had gathered the four of us, obviously hoping to talk some sense into us. Why the sudden talk of divorce? She frowned, her gaze shifting between her two disappointing sons. "Ask him." Ryan shot a disgusted look at Johnny, clearly pissed. I guess you would be, too, if you came home from a long shift at the hospital to find your wife gone. Bro. Ask her, Johnny said, looking from his mom to Diana. Ask me? You're the one who was spotted checking into a hotel with an influencer. And you're telling her to ask me? Diana exploded. Nothing happened between us. You were photographed. How is that nothing? It was one picture. The tabloids love to make things up. Ha. Let's be real, you just don't trust me. Are you even worthy of my trust? Diana and Johnny were getting more and more heated, their argument escalating. Watching them fight like an old married couple, I suddenly thought they were actually perfect for each other. At least they were communicating their feelings, even if it was through yelling. My mother-in-law, looking like she'd seen this a million times, just shook her head wearily and turned to me. Winnie, what about you? Why do you want a divorce too? I was speechless, a little flustered. What was I supposed to say? Because I was supporting my best friend? Or because we had an incompatible sex life? Just as I was struggling for an answer, Ryan stood up. Mom, Winnie and I are going to step outside and talk. Ryan led me out of the living room and into the garden. The weather in San Francisco was perfect this time of year. A light breeze was blowing, the sun was warm, and the air was filled with the faint scent of flowers. Sitting on a bench, Ryan looked at me, his eyes revealing a hint of exhaustion and gravity. Winnie, do you really want a divorce? Seeing his calm expression stirred something in me, but I answered firmly, yes. Ryan's gaze flickered. Why? I looked down and stayed quiet for a moment. Because our marriage was just a marriage of convenience from the start. Are you so sure? Ryan stopped himself. What? Nothing. You really want to go through with this? He asked again. If you asked me what else I disliked about Ryan, it was this. He was always stopping mid-sentence, leaving you to guess what he was thinking. Yes, I nodded. Fine. I agree. He said he agreed, but for some reason, it made me sad. He brought up the prenup. According to the agreement, I'll walk away with nothing. My company's shares and personal assets will be transferred to your name. I was taken aback and mumbled, but you didn't cheat. Ryan was clearly surprised that I knew about the agreement. A flash of astonishment crossed his eyes. He said in a low voice, if you want it, everything I have is yours. Hearing that, I blurted out, including you and your love? Ryan froze. Realizing I'd been too blunt, I quickly waved my hands. Just kidding, don't worry about it. Winnie, if you want it, See you at the courthouse on Monday, I said, cutting him off as I stood up and walked away. Back in the house, Diana and Johnny were still in a heated argument. My mother-in-law was on the sofa, rubbing her temples, clearly worn out by their bickering. Diana, her face red with anger, pointed at Johnny and yelled, Monday morning at the courthouse. Whoever doesn't show is a chicken. Not to be outdone, Johnny sneered back, fine. Whoever doesn't show is a chicken. Diana grabbed her bag, pulled me out the door, and we ran right into Ryan. Move. I snapped, shoving him aside. Monday morning, Diana and I overslept. As we neared the courthouse, we could see Ryan's black G-Wagon parked on the side of the road. Ryan and Johnny were talking about something. They stopped abruptly when they saw us approaching. Diana rolled her eyes. Look at them. Eager to get this over with. Diana, I thought you might have changed your mind, Johnny said, his tone dripping with sarcasm. Ryan stood off to the side, silent. No regrets. I took Diana's arm and led the way inside. At the divorce filings office, the clerk looked at our applications with a deep frown. After several failed attempts at mediation, she reluctantly processed our paperwork. The moment I stepped out of the courthouse, I felt a wave of relief. I was a free woman again. Just then, Ryan called out to me. The four of us should have one last meal together, he said, his voice even but his eyes pleading. I shook my head. There's no need. Diana's eyes darted around, then she looked at me. Now that we're free, we should hit up a club and hire some male dancers. At her words, Johnny's face turned livid, and he glared at her. Ryan, however, grabbed my arm, his eyes filled with a mixture of urgency and anger. Winnie, don't you dare. You're not a free woman yet. Don't forget there's a 1-month waiting period. It was the first time I'd ever seen him like this. My heart skipped a beat, but I just gave him a faint smile. Relax. I'm not going to do anything. Just look. You. That night, Diana and I actually went to a club. We talked a big game, but this was our first time in a place like this. As soon as we walked in, we felt like a couple of country bumpkins, gawking at everything around us. After all, our usual pastimes were things like foot soaks, massages, and facials. A nightclub was a whole different world. The lights flashed, and the music was deafening. Though we felt a bit out of place, Diana and I found a booth near the dance floor and ordered some drinks. Diana leaned back on the sofa and raised her glass. To our newfound freedom. I raised my glass too. Cheers. As if checking off a to-do list, Diana, despite not knowing the first thing about this, waved her hand extravagantly and ordered a few male entertainers to our table. Put it on Johnny and Ryan's tab, she said with a wicked grin. Yeah, put it on Ryan's tab. That old man can afford it. I've never been able to hold my liquor, and I was already tipsy after a few sips. Diana, on the other hand, had knocked back several drinks. Just then, a handsome guy leaned in close to me, smiling charmingly as he whispered something in my ear. Before he could finish, he was shoved aside. I looked up, dazed, and saw Ryan. His handsome face slowly came into focus in front of me. Winnie, you actually did it. You hired male dancers. Ryan's brow was furrowed, his voice laced with anger as he scooped me up into his arms. I don't want to go. Diana. Diana. I struggled, trying to reach for her. Worry about yourself. Johnny's got Diana. The cool night air sobered me up a little, but my head was still spinning. Ryan placed me in the passenger seat, and the car sped off. I leaned back, staring at his profile. The old man was really good looking. Ryan, why did you come looking for me? I smiled, my voice a little whiny. Winnie, do you really like younger men that much? Ryan didn't answer my question. The alcohol was really kicking in, and seeing his dark expression, I couldn't resist teasing him. I leaned closer, my fingers tracing a light path up his arm. Are you worried about me? Afraid something might happen? Ryan didn't say a word, but I saw his Adam's apple bob. I pressed on, relentless. You know, Ryan, you're really handsome when you're like this. His expression shifted, but he still didn't respond. Not wanting to give up, I moved closer, my fingers gently touching his cheek. Ryan, your face is so cool. His body tensed for a second before he regained his composure. Winnie, don't. I smiled and leaned in even closer, my lips almost touching his ear. Ryan, acting like this might make me think you actually care about me. Ryan finally pulled the car over. Winnie, do you have any idea what you're saying? Of course I do. I'm saying I want to know how you feel about me. You really want to know? I might have imagined it, but I thought I saw a playful smirk on his lips. I'll tell you when we get home. In the bedroom, Ryan gently placed me on the bed. The world was a bit blurry, but his face was crystal clear, just inches away. His expression was still cold, but his eyes held a long-suppressed emotion that was starting to surface. I lounged on the bed, smiling up at him. So, Ryan, are you sleeping in the guest room tonight? We were getting divorced anyway, so I figured I might as well test him. I was a catch. How could he have no interest in me at all? Ryan stood by the bed, hesitating. Winnie, you're drunk. I reached out, grabbed his tie, and pulled him closer. I'm not drunk. I'm perfectly clear-headed. He frowned and tried to pull his tie free, but I held on tight. What are you afraid of? Losing control? Or your secret getting out? Secret? The secret that you're gay. Ryan froze for a second, then a wicked smile spread across his face. He undid his tie with one hand. Winnie, you're done for. Don't say I didn't warn you. What do I have to? Before I could finish, Ryan leaned down and crushed his lips against mine. I was stunned. I'll show you how I feel right now. Ryan's eyes grew hazy as he pinned me beneath him. The next morning, I woke up sore, fragments of the previous night flashing through my mind. Note to self, Winnie, you are a terrible drunk. Also, I regretted it. Ryan had the body of a 20-year-old, the stamina of a 30-year-old, and the skills of a 40-year-old. And no, he wasn't gay. The sound of the shower was running in the bathroom. I started to panic. I don't know what I was thinking, but I took all the cash out of my purse and put it on the nightstand. I got dressed and bolted out of the house. Fumbling for my phone, I quickly dialed Diana. Winnie, what's wrong? Diana's voice was thick with sleep. Who is it? A man's voice came from the other end. It was Johnny. Ah. What are you doing in my bed? Diana shrieked. Oh, crap. Honey, I gotta go. Meet me at the usual spot in an hour. Then the line went dead. Did Diana and Johnny also? An hour later, Diana and I met at our favorite coffee shop. I slept with Ryan. I slept with Johnny. We said it at almost the exact same time. Diana's eyes went wide with disbelief. This alcohol is seriously dangerous. I picked up my coffee and downed it in one gulp. Diana sighed. We're in the middle of our divorce waiting period, and we couldn't even wait that long. I honestly don't know how I'm going to face Ryan. I accused him of being a gay man in a sham marriage. Diana silently gave me a thumbs up. Just then, her phone rang. It's Ryan. Don't. Before I could stop her, Diana had answered the call and put it on speaker. Ask Winnie what the $7.48 on the nightstand was for. Ryan's voice on the other end was furious. Diana looked at me, stunned for a moment, then cautiously ventured, 748? Like, go to hell, or something? What does Winnie think I am? One of her hired dancers? Am I only worth? Before Ryan could finish his rant, I snatched the phone and hung up. Winnie, did you really leave him $7.48? Diana burst out laughing, bending over in her chair. I don't know what I was thinking. I just put down whatever cash I had. Who knew it would be such a terrible number? Diana laughed even harder. You're going to give Ryan a heart attack. $7.48. That's priceless. Diana and I had no idea how to handle the situation, so we just bought tickets to Vegas and decided to get away for a few days to clear our heads. A few days later, we returned to San Francisco. The second we stepped out of the airport, we were surrounded by a massive crowd of people. The whole scene made it look like Diana and I were wanted criminals. Ryan and Johnny stood a short distance away, both looking very serious. They walked straight over and pulled us apart. Had enough fun, princess? Johnny was all smiles as he took Diana's bag. We're going home, Ryan said, his tone the complete opposite. Isn't it a weekday? I'm surprised Dr. Shaw could tear himself away from work to come to the airport. I heard that on the day we left for Vegas, Johnny and Ryan practically tore the city apart looking for us. I felt a mix of emotions, a little bit of smug satisfaction, but also a little afraid to face Ryan. Back at the house, Ryan dragged me straight into the bedroom. His face was still dark. Winnie, what is this? You sleep with me and then you run? He demanded, his voice tight with suppressed anger. I looked down guiltily, unable to meet his eyes. I just wanted to get away for a bit. I didn't think you guys would make such a big deal out of it. Get away? Do you have any idea how worried I was? What's there to worry about? I'm not a child. You're definitely not a child, Ryan said with a sly smile, looking me up and down. He slowly approached, and his suggestive gaze made it feel like he was about to devour me. It made me uneasy, and my heart started to pound. That night, he said in a low voice, was my answer satisfactory? My face turned beet red. I had no idea how to respond. Ryan seemed to enjoy my discomfort. How was the service from this old man? Old man? How did he know I called him that? Ryan kept advancing, and I kept backing up until I hit the edge of the bed. Am I more appealing than those young dancers? His voice was teasing, as if he were both jealous and proud. He moved in, trapping me under him, then leaned down and narrowed his eyes. He was so close I could feel his hot breath on my skin. How did you know I call you old man? I asked, trying to keep my cool. A flicker of realization crossed Ryan's eyes, and he seemed to regain some of his composure. He sighed. On our wedding day, I overheard you and Diana talking. My conversation with Diana? I tried to remember. I was so nervous on our wedding day. Ryan is 6 years older than me. Do you think we'll have a generation gap? Diana joked, you're just a spring chicken about to be eaten by an old rooster. Diana, what do I do? I'm not ready. I'm about to marry this old man. Old man? Winnie, Ryan would probably have a heart attack if he heard that. But that wasn't all we talked about that day. I actually said a lot of nice things about him after that, but apparently Ryan only heard the not so flattering part at the beginning. Old man is just something I say. Ryan's not old at all. He's actually really handsome. Diana rolled her eyes. Winnie, don't tell me you're starting to fall for him. It's not impossible. The truth is, I was completely smitten with Ryan right after we got married. I visited him at the hospital a few times, and seeing him in his white coat, focused on his work, was incredibly attractive. Back then, I often thought about how lucky I was that a man like him had ended up with me. If he were on the market, I wouldn't have stood a chance. As I recounted this, Ryan's expression softened. So you said all that, too? I nodded, looking at him seriously. I was just joking with Diana. Old man is just a habit. Later, Before I could finish, Ryan suddenly kissed me. This kiss was different from the last one. It was tender and careful. From now on, you're not allowed to call anyone else old man. Huh? It's my special name now. I looked at him, confused. He'd been sulking about that nickname for so long, and now he wanted it to be his? Was this his way of confessing his feelings? Ryan seemed to read my mind and smiled gently. Winnie. He took a deep breath, his voice tinged with a hint of uncertainty. Is it really possible for you to fall for me? The question caught me off guard. I fell silent, my mind racing. After all, I'd always told myself that my relationship with Ryan was purely one of convenience. Suddenly talking about feelings left me completely flustered. The reason I slept in a separate room this past year wasn't because I didn't like you. It was because I thought you had no feelings for me. His eyes filled with regret. After I heard your conversation with Diana, I was convinced you were forced into marrying me. So I chose to keep my distance. I didn't want to pressure you. If I was around you, I was afraid I wouldn't be able to control myself. Like that night. Ryan's words threw me for a loop. He said it wasn't because he didn't like me. A double negative. That means he likes me. But we had a whirlwind marriage and barely interacted this past year. How could he like me? You like me? I tried to stay calm, but my voice trembled slightly. Ryan smiled and nodded. I've liked you for a long time. A long time? I was even more confused. I guess you've forgotten, he chuckled. Do you remember when you were 22? You got a sty in your right eye and went to the hospital. Diana went with you. I paused, thinking back to that doctor's visit. My eye hurt so much back then, and I was in a terrible mood. I just remember the doctor being gentle and kind. He wore a mask, but his eyes were beautiful. Thinking about it, I raised my hand and covered the lower half of Ryan's face. That was you? Ryan nodded, his smile deepening. Do you believe in love at first sight? You mean you liked me back then? I did. Is that so wrong? I stared at him, completely dumbfounded. But if you liked me, why didn't you ask me out? A faint smile touched Ryan's lips. At the time, I thought you were too young. You were about to graduate from college, and I was too busy with work. I was afraid I couldn't take good care of you. This was insane. And then what? I pressed, eager to hear more. Ryan sighed softly. And then I saw you again, and you asked me if I wanted to get married. You have no idea how happy I was. But you didn't show any emotion at all. I couldn't let on how I felt. I was afraid of scaring you away. Hearing this, a suspicion began to form in my mind. So, I was the prey all along? Ryan grinned, a cunning glint in his eye. You could put it that way. I'm a great catch. I've never had a shortage of women interested in me. If I wanted to get married, I would have done it ages ago. He sounded a little cocky. I couldn't help but roll my eyes. Did you really think I would marry just anyone? Ryan asked. I don't know. Ryan looked at me, his gaze suddenly deep and full of emotion. Winnie, he murmured. His soft voice seemed to touch the deepest, most vulnerable part of my heart, leaving me flustered. Can we please not get a divorce? He asked, his tone pleading. Faced with his sudden confession, I was in a state of turmoil, unsure how to respond. I was torn. His sincerity moved me, but I couldn't make a decision right away. Seeing my silence, a flicker of disappointment crossed Ryan's eyes, but he didn't press me. He sighed gently, his voice still soft. You should get some rest. With that, he got up to go to the guest room. Just then, my phone rang. It was Diana. She wanted me to come over. Ryan insisted on driving me. After refusing a few times to no avail, I finally agreed. At Diana's place, she poured me some tea while complaining. You have no idea. Johnny is like a different person. Oh. He's dropped the whole cool, aloof act and has become super attentive. He's always whispering sweet nothings in my ear, begging me not to divorce him. He's like a clingy puppy. Her tone was a mix of mockery and exasperation, but I could tell she didn't really mind it. Diana was wavering. Knowing her, she would never really marry someone just for business unless she genuinely liked him. But my best friend has always been decisive and sharp. When it comes to matters of the heart, she's always level-headed and sees things clearly. As she was talking, she suddenly asked how things were with Ryan and me. I told her everything. You're saying Ryan has been in love with you for years? Diana's voice was filled with disbelief. Oh my God, that is so dramatic. I know, right? I said with a wry smile. No wonder. That's why Johnny was always telling me to invite you out with us. It must have been Ryan's idea. Diana looked at me and asked, are you going to get back together? I fell into thought. Normally, I would have just said, whatever, I'll do what you do. But this time, I hesitated. Marriage wasn't a game. I don't know, I sighed, feeling lost. I need to think about it. Diana watched me quietly, a soft smile on her face. For the first time, she spoke in a consoling tone. Winnie, I can tell Ryan is serious about you. He waited a whole year for you. He really cares about you. You should give him a chance. I was stunned. I never expected Diana to give me that kind of advice. You really think I should give him a chance? Of course, Diana nodded firmly. Maybe she was right. I lay down, thinking I should play a game of Go to clear my head. What is Johnny texting me? A bunch of cheesy, disgusting stuff. Diana tossed her phone aside. She was complaining, but a smile never left her lips. I spent the next few days sleeping over at Diana's. Dr. Shaw, our resident workaholic, suddenly had all the time in the world. He was either asking me out to dinner or to a movie. But I turned him down every time. I admit it, I was avoiding him. Lately, Diana had been coming home later and later, and for the past 2 days, she hadn't come home at all, leaving me all alone. I didn't even need to ask. She was definitely off with Johnny. A few days ago, the influencer from the scandal with Johnny came out and personally debunked the rumors, and the media issued a clarification and an apology. Johnny was officially cleared of the cheating accusation. This morning, I was woken up by a phone call. It was the manager of my Go Club. He told me to get down there right away, saying something about the club being overrun with flowers. Then he hung up. I own a Go Club in San Francisco, but I don't go there very often. Go Club? Flowers? Overrun? Puzzled, I rushed over. The first thing I saw when I got out of my car was Ryan. He looked completely different today, dressed like a college kid, even wearing a pair of semi-rimless glasses. I had to admit, he looked really handsome. Ryan was standing at the entrance of the club, smiling. Winnie, you're here. I paused, then walked up to him. What are you doing here? He grinned and pointed inside. Go see for yourself. I shot him a look. What was he playing at? I pushed open the door and was immediately stunned by the sight. The entire club was filled with flowers, all peonies, my favorite. The manager came over. Ma'am, Dr. Shaw sent all of these. I turned to look at Ryan. His smile widened. Winnie, are they beautiful? They're beautiful, but they're also disrupting my business. Ryan's smile froze. He probably thought I was being completely unromantic. Don't send any more flowers here. He just smiled, a mischievous look on his face. Not unless you agree to have dinner with me. The old man was getting bold, trying to blackmail me like this. But I wasn't going to fall for it. Just as I was about to leave, my phone rang. I answered, and my mom's anxious voice came through. Winnie, can you please tell Ryan to stop sending things to the house? I looked at Ryan and rolled my eyes in exasperation. He just shrugged innocently, fully embracing his college kid persona. This old man. I never knew he had so many tricks up his sleeve. I wondered if our night together had unlocked some new part of him. Mom, I know. I'll talk to him. Do you want to get dinner together? Ryan's voice, now even more cheerful, carried over the phone. Winnie, go have dinner with Ryan right now, or don't bother coming home, my mom said before hanging up. Just a little while ago, she was supporting my divorce. Now, after just a few days, she'd switched sides. I agreed to Ryan's invitation. I thought he'd take me to a restaurant, but instead, he brought me back to his place. Why are we back here? The housekeeper isn't here today. Ryan gave me a mysterious smile. I'm cooking tonight. What? Did I hear him right? Dr. Shaw, the man who never lifted a finger in the kitchen, was cooking? I've been married to you for a year, and I never knew you had this skill. There's a lot you don't know about me. He led me to the table and then went into the kitchen, deliberately closing the door behind him. I was full of questions, but I'd been up late last night, and all I wanted to do was sleep. Ryan woke me up. I opened my eyes to find his handsome face just inches from mine. My gaze drifted down, and I gasped. Ryan was shirtless, wearing nothing but a ridiculously frilly apron. His toned muscles were enticing under the light, and the apron somehow made him look even more alluring. I shot up, staring at him in disbelief. What are you doing? What? You don't like it? As he spoke, he intentionally flexed, showing off his pecs. It's nice. Winnie, try it, he said, bringing over a bowl of noodles. He lifted a few strands with chopsticks, blew on them carefully, and held them to my lips. It didn't look great, but it tasted almost exactly like my mom's. My mom told me this was your favorite dish growing up. I'd been practicing for a long time. Ryan held out his hand. I even burned myself trying to get it right. Seeing the red marks on his fair skin, I felt a pang of sympathy. Let me blow on it, he said, moving his hand closer. Let me see. The moment I took his hand, he pulled me forward, placing my hand on his chest. Winnie's hand belongs right here, so you can hear what's in my heart. His teasing tone vanished, replaced by a voice that was both husky and seductive. Ryan, what are you doing? Were you satisfied with my college kid performance today? Ryan's eyes were like the ocean, his dark pupils like shy, swimming whales. I was completely lost in them. Very satisfied. But I like my old man even better. I looked up and gave him a soft kiss on the corner of his lips. Can the old man get a reward? What kind of reward? I'll tell you in the bedroom. Ryan scooped me up and carried me straight upstairs. I, Winnie, have no self-respect. I was won over by a single bowl of noodles. But whatever. I married Ryan for his looks in the first place. By staying true to his looks, I guess you could say I'm loyal. As long as the old man is willing to put in the effort for me, that's all that matters. In the morning, I was lying in Ryan's arms when my phone started ringing incessantly. Hello, Diana. Winnie, tomorrow's the last day of the waiting period. Aren't you two going to withdraw the divorce petition? I glanced at Ryan. The old man's not in a hurry, so neither am I. Ryan grabbed the phone from me. Go live happily ever after with Johnny and stop bothering us. He turned off the phone and pulled me back into his arms. Babe, I really outdid myself last night. You must be tired. Let's sleep a little longer, okay? That evening, Ryan led me out of the courthouse. The sky was a flowing canvas, painted with shifting shades of gold. The sunset in San Francisco was breathtakingly beautiful today. Ryan looked at me seriously. Babe, that prenup is still valid. Are you saying you plan on cheating in the future? Silly girl. I knew you never read it properly. Huh? What I signed says that if we ever get divorced, for any reason, I walk away with nothing. Seeing my confused expression, Ryan added, there are no other conditions.